Pokemon TCG Live is the worst digital TCG on the market, and here's everything wrong with it, is the title of Tricky Jim's newest video about Pokemon TCG Live. So, what's up, guys? My name's Luke here at Celio's Network, and if by some grace of God you've found my channel before Tricky Jim's, definitely go check out this full video over on Andrew's channel. Tricky Jim will just be watching and reacting to the last 7 minutes or so of this video, where we're just going to listen to what Andrew has to say about the newest Pokemon TCG online software, PTCG Live, and I will also toss in my thoughts. Now, I don't want you to think that if you're new here, this is a channel of negativity and complaints, because it's really not, but this is huge news. You know, the Pokemon TCG Live is a very large deal for creators in the Pokemon trading card game space, so naturally we're going to cover it, and unfortunately there's not a lot of positivity around the new way to play the Pokemon trading card game. So let's see what Andrew has to say in this video, and I'll be pausing for my reactions as we go.
I'm so jazzed and excited about so many things happening with Pokemon. You have to...
So what he's referring to there is that the Pokemon Company International, TPCI, is doing a fantastic job with a lot of things. You know, the Celebrations set that came out last year to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Pokemon franchise. The Pokemon Go set was awesome. The new V-Star Universe Crown Zenith set that's coming out. TPCI is making really good pre-constructed products that you could just buy for 25 bucks at the store and start playing the game with a competitive deck. TPCI is doing a lot of good things for the card game. So, you know, that's some of the things that Andrew is referring to here about loving what Pokemon's doing overall.
Call it like you see it. Everything that's been occurring with the Pokemon Trading Card Game Live in the last 12 months that we as a community have been aware of it has been, I'd say, largely not great.
Not great is an understatement. It's been an absolute disaster. Let's start with how the world found out about PTCG Live. The world found out about PTCG Live because it was shown on the back of a booster box. I've got to have a booster box around here somewhere. Yeah, so Fusion Strike, which came out last November, you know, it showed this, which my camera's pretty small right now in this setup, but here, yeah, you guys can see that. On the back logo, it says Play Online. Yeah, my lighting isn't exactly set up today to show a booster box a quarter-inch from my camera, but that's how people found out about Pokemon TCG Live at first. It was this little logo on the back of Fusion Strike booster boxes, and, you know, sites started posting about it, it got tweeted and whatnot, and we're like, oh wow, are we getting a new way to play Pokemon TCG online? Because we've been using PTCGO since it was launched in beta in like 2011. So that's how we found out about PTCG Live, so not great. And then shortly thereafter, some trailers were announced, and it was supposed to come out in time for... It was supposed to come out late 2021, because the code cards on the back of the Fusion Strike code cards, which are the codes you use to scan into the game, said "Play Today, Pokemon TCG Live," and those cards were released in America in November of last year, and the game didn't actually become playable worldwide in beta on mobile devices and PC until just recently, in the past month or so. So the timeline is, it was revealed to be a thing because of a product image getting leaked, and then it was planned to come out worldwide in last year, November of last year, and then it didn't come out until November of this year. And even when it did come out, it's been riddled with bugs. The design looks awful. The user interface is not intuitive. It's just been disappointment and disaster after another.
You have to call it like you see it. You have to do that, because I'm in a situation where I have to do that. I can't just blindly shill this thing because I depend on it. I'm not going to lead the community astray. I'm not going to try and polish the turd, you know? I'm not going to do that.
So I feel similar. You guys may have already watched some of my Pokemon TCG Live Progression series, which is a series I've enjoyed making so far. We're only 2 episodes deep, but the viewers seem to really like it so far. And I'm showing you how to start out with a free to play deck and build on it as you go. But I'm editing episode 3 right now, and while recording the gameplay for episode 3, I've already come into the issue that I'm going to have to play Lugia V-Star this entire way through until they put the next free deck on the Battle Pass, and that is not what a trading card game should be. I want to show players how to create new, fun, innovative decks in a free-to-play collection, but you can't even do that. I've grinded and played, I think, around 75 games so far, but not only can I not create a new deck of my choosing, I can't even craft a few new cards to upgrade my Lugia deck even further. I ran into a problem where I wanted to craft a Stoutland V to show players how to counter Lost Zone decks with Lugia, but I didn't even have enough credits to do that yet after playing, at that time, probably 50 to 60 games on PTCG Live. So it's advertised as a fully free to play game, but that couldn't be further from the truth. It's a game with a currency system that has no microtransactions, but you have to unintuitively know to gather code cards from specific sets to be able to play the game efficiently, or have a pre-existing PTCGO account that you migrate. It's just riddled with unintuitive design.
Because I care too much. I'm invested in the community. The community is what has allowed me to make a living sharing the game with the world.
And I've already had again, I have to stop Andrew because he just says a lot of great stuff. Andrew's saying a lot of good things here, guys. The community is why Andrew has a career like this. The community is a reason why I have a career like this. I'm my entire full-time living is off of YouTube, Twitch sponsorships related to Pokemon, coaching and teaching players how to become and grow as a competitive player, things like that. It's all because of the community. And how do you think I feel when I put out a video about Pokemon TCG Live and I have a comment saying, hey, I've built up my entire collection in PTCGO and I chose to migrate it into PTCG Live because it is an official Pokemon product that's telling me to migrate my collection. So I did that, and now I lost my collection because this game sucks. I don't have my old expanded decks anymore. I can't even play with those on PTCG Live yet, which, if you do some research, you could find out, but you shouldn't have to do research to find out that you're going into a broken game. And then your cards are forever lost into PTCG Live if you don't want to play PTCG Live once you see how horrible it looks and how unintuitive everything is. And people are telling me that they're quitting Pokemon TCG because of this experience of migrating their decade-long collection into PTCG Live. So how's that supposed to make me feel? People who have been watching me maybe for a day, a week, a year since I've started 4 or 5 years ago are telling me, I watched your video and I wanted to try PTCG Live for myself. I migrated my account so I could actually build some decks, and then I realized this experience is awful and I don't even want to play the card game anymore. That hurts me, and it should hurt the Pokemon Company International. It should be bothering somebody there. If it's what my gripe with this is, I feel like I am more invested in the people playing this game than the company that makes the game.
So I owe them my honesty. Something seriously needs to change. And I think that I've been more than fair, I was originally shocked at the lower quality of the Pokemon trading card game live, and I got angry.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us turned our shock and disgust into humor and anger. Both of them combined, or just one or the other.
Because I was shocked at how much worse it was and how much of a step backwards it was from what we'd already been accustomed to. And that original shock came with anger and frustration, and I let that out.
What was wrong with PTCGO, what we've been playing on for about a decade now? Well, it looked old, and there was no way to buy cards directly, and so you had to go through a convoluted trading system of scanning codes and trading, and there was no ranked ladder. Those were the main issues. Go over to Pokemon TCG Live. we still can't buy cards directly, and there's still a convoluted system to learn of what codes to scan in and then how you get your cards. There is a ranked mode, but if you're coming from literally any other online game, you'll quickly realize that it is not like other ranked or competitive ladders. Uh, and then PTCGO looked old. Well, PTCG Live looks like a high school senior year graphic design project. So we went horizontal at best. We went from old to bad.
Because I didn't know what else to do. Over the last handful of months, I've tried just ignoring it
I also tried to forget that it
because
existed.
I'm not a negative person and I don't like starting drama and I
Sure.
don't want to bring that energy into the community. And I want to be a positive force in the game. And I felt like
Yep.
talking about live was bringing me into a really negative space.
There was actually a point where I stopped streaming, and my streaming has been on and off hiatus ever since, because like some of my streams would just turn into somebody asking me about live, and I would put myself into a downward spiral of why am I even making content for a game made by a company who puts out garbage and is okay with it.
So I kind of took some time off to just not think about it. But now that we're coming up on a year, I wanted to put my thoughts together in a cohesive way and hopefully a constructive way to help demonstrate my issues with the direction of the new client. So that it was very clear I'm not just being a hater, I'm not just being, any type of way about it. Like there are some very logical and reasonable quality of life things that we would expect from a new and updated client that are just not there, and not seeing adequate development towards those things after a year of beta testing is extremely concerning.
I
And
also want to add that I have heard a lot of, Pokemon's $1 billion franchise, most successful franchise in the world. Let's even remove that. Let's remove that, because we don't know how much budget or profit or whatever specifically the trading card game has, or TPCI even has, because TPCI is a subsidiary of TPC, which is the parent company in Japan. um, but let's remove all of that, because if this game came out from an indie development team and it was anything but the Pokemon TCG, so let's call it the Card Monster TCG Live. It's some random TCG and this is the client for it. I would be I would just remove this from my memory and go on with my life. But because it's from Pokemon, I expected it to give me the feeling of the Pokemon franchise. I expected it. I didn't go in hoping to criticize. I went in hoping to discover and explore this new great client. And instead, I had to turn into a game design critique when I don't even know anything about game design, because of how unintuitive and how lifeless everything looked. So I went in just fully expecting this to be like copy paste MTG Arena, but it's Pokemon or Hearthstone or Legends of Runeterra or just PTCGO with quality of life changes. And I went into what looked like a very early draft of an indie company's like low budget project. Like this thing looks like it needs to be on Kickstarter asking for money kind of deal. And just it was very I was very taken aback. Oh, I meant to hit play, but it didn't work.
I think that
There we
that's
go.
fair. And I think that that's something that we as a community need to make sure is heard, because we're not going to take a step backwards in quality. We're not going to take a step backwards with the performance of the game. We're not going to take a step backwards visually. And The collections that players have been working for over a decade to amass on the Pokemon trading card game online, I think deserve to look at least as good
Hmm.
on the Pokemon trading card game live as they did on the Pokemon trading card game online. And I don't think that that's an unreasonable thing to expect from a game that has been in development for 4 years. The Pokemon trading
Absolutely.
card game live is not being released into a vacuum.
Absolutely though. Like if even if you're watching this outside of the TCG realm, like imagine you imagine your Pokemon that you've caught in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and Pokemon Scarlet Violet 2 comes out, and they say that it's fixed all the problems, it's newly updated, it has these new systems and mechanics, and everybody's Scarlet and Violet Pokemon boxes, your collection that you've caught, your trainer, your gym badges, everything like that, all of your Pokemon will be transferred into Scarlet and Violet 2 on X date. And then you get into Scarlet and Violet 2, and it looks like a combination of a Game Boy Color game, but it also has glitches and bugs that never existed in Scarlet and Violet 1. Imagine that your new Pokemon that you've caught, these 3D models are now blurry and you can't even see the Pokemon. You can't interact with them the way that you used to. If you want to see your Pokemon, you have to go into a battle to see them. It's kind of like that, except it's the card game. You can't even look at your collection. When you do look at your collection, the cards are blurry. There are third-party apps that let you look at a collection of Pokemon cards better than Pokemon TCG Live does. I Oof.
There are other games that are doing exactly what the Pokemon trading card game live is setting out to do and doing it better.
I have to disagree. Not disagree, but I have to bring up a counter argument here. Andrew says that Pokemon TCG Live is setting out to do what other card games are already doing: Hearthstone, Magic Arena, Legends of Runeterra, etc., so on. But we don't know that that's what they're setting out to do. I posit that the Pokemon Company International is setting out to put out a mediocre product that is going to be net neutral at best for the game. I don't think, like, Magic the Gathering Arena set out to make Hasbro millions of dollars. Legends of Runeterra set out to branch off the franchise of League of Legends into a new card game that would, enhance the Riot Games franchise. Hearthstone set out to expand the World of Warcraft franchise into a new digital card game era and be the premier new digital card game. Pokemon TCG Live, I don't think it's trying to do any of that. I just can't fathom that anybody has those goals in mind and think anything that they are currently doing is working towards those goals.
Magic Arena, Hearthstone, Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. All of these games look and perform beautifully, and they pay homage to the artistic direction of those franchises, and they are rewarding games to play and experience. And
Like, there can't be anybody at the Pokemon Company International. There can't be anybody in any of the parent companies, anybody that makes decisions at Pokemon that could look me in the eye and tell me that they think Pokemon TCG Live is even close to achieving anything that any of these other card games that Andrew has mentioned have achieved.
And that is all I am expecting from the Pokemon trading card game live. I am on board with the new direction of the economy. I am on board with crafting. I think better accessibility to the game is fantastic.
It
And
would be, except this is sideways. This is horizontal movement. We went from a convoluted trading system to a convoluted crafting system on a worse game. It's not an improvement.
something that should absolutely happen with our new client. However, if the client isn't at least as good or better than the outdated client that came before it, then the player base will decrease and evaporate. We need to make sure that the new client is better than the old client and, my God, up to par with the other clients that exist for other trading card games.
It's like Andrew's trying to like Andrew's trying to explain this to TPCI. Like it's like, okay, talk to me like I'm 5. We want the game to be at least as good as the old game, right? Like, can we all get on board with that? I don't think we're all on board with that.
Because we know that Pokemon is one of the biggest franchises in the
Even
world,
remove that.
the
The
biggest
game should look
franchise in the
better.
world, and definitely capable of such.
I don't
So
know.
that's
I
it.
don't know if they're capable of such, because I think their management, their CEO, whoever makes the decisions, I don't think they're capable of wrapping their head around giving a good product anymore. I think they are just set in comfortable mediocrity, and that's what we're here to suffer with. And it's so painful for me to say that, because I've played the card game and the video game literally since I could have it in my hands in North America when I was 5 or 6 years old, and I've been creating content for the game for 4 to 5 years. Even as a kid, I used to write blog type articles on the Pokegym forums, and I was creating content even back then. I've been enjoying the community and hoping that the community would grow since I can remember. And it feels like the Pokemon Company International, at least the people making decisions, are completely devoid of that. So I'm going to leave you guys on this lovely freezed image of Andrew's face, and you guys can go over to Tricky Jim to watch the full video if you'd like. But I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction to Andrew's video today, and continue the discussion down there. Continue it in my Discord. We have a PTCG live channel in the Discord strictly for discussing that kind of stuff, but you can also just hop into the general channel and say whatever you feel like. Keep it family friendly and productive conversation in there as always. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time here on Celios Network.